Yo, what's up everybody? Shanks here. We're going to cover the Steam setup on the new UI. We're going to go over a ton of different stuff in this video, like wall running, and a new thing I discovered that I'm calling instant weapon swap. And I guarantee if you watch the whole video, you're going to learn something that none of these other videos show you. You don't need to play claw. As long as you have 4 back buttons, you're never going to be taking your thumbs off the sticks. If you subscribe, I really appreciate it. Now let's get right into it. I have my jump, crouch, cycle weapons, and this is my tap strafe button, all binded to my back paddles. And then I use left stick click to heal, and right stick click to holster and inspect my heirlooms. And my tactical and ultimate abilities, just ignore, and I'll show you how I have those set up in Steam. Alright, so hit Steam, and then settings, and then go down to controller, and make sure you have your Steam inputs enabled. And then after that, go to Apex, and then plug your controller in, and hit controller layout. And then you're going to want to hit edit layout. Okay, so for my ultimate ability, I use a button cord on my crouch. And all it is when I hold right bumper, which is my interact, it turns crouch into Z key, which is the ultimate ability on the keyboard. And what I found out is having your interact as the corded button works really good so it doesn't interfere with anything. Okay, so what that looks like in game, you can see this is my crouch button, and here's my interact. So when I hold my interact and click my crouch,
placing a portal.
Okay, so for my tactical, I have Q key, which is tactical on mouse and keyboard, binded to my left bumper. And then I also have my melee on my left bumper, and I have it delayed with a long press, and I have it set to 250 milliseconds. So I can click left bumper to use my Q, and I can hold it to use my melee. Okay, so the one thing is on your Q key, you need to go to settings and make it interruptible. Okay, so this next one is to jump in death boxes. It's super simple. Just add an extra command to your jump button and then bind space or whatever your jump key is on mouse and keyboard. And when you click A in the jump box to grab stuff, you'll also jump at the same time. Okay, so this next thing is to loot off the ground really quickly. So I have a double press on my interact, and then I have it turboed with the double tap time at 151. So what it does is if I click my right bumper and then hold it right after, it puts it on turbo and I can loot off the ground and loot pills super quickly. Okay, next is my wall running setup. It's pretty simple actually. I just mode shift my D-pad into W, S, A, and D, and I use my left bumper to mode shift it. And then to get the mode shift, all you do is come here and go to create a mode shift. Okay, so when I hold that bumper, you can see I can walk left and right using my D-pad. And when I start to wall run, it's going to cancel the melee animation and it's going to cancel the Q. Okay, so what you want to do is run and jump on the wall, and as soon as you hit the wall, you're going to hold your left bumper and the D-pad direction that you want to move in. Okay, so next thing is instant holster, which controller typically doesn't have, but M and K does. So all you have to do is bind the M and K input to your controller, which is 3, and then to inspect your heirlooms, you're also going to want to bind N. Okay, so whatever button you chose to holster, you need to make sure you have extra character action binded to that. For me, right stick click. Okay, so next thing for my inspect, I have it on turbo, which allows me to inspect my kunai super quick. And it also makes it so I don't wear down my right stick nearly as quick, because I was having that issue too. Okay, so next thing is instant weapon swap, which I actually figured out myself. So what you want to do is go to your cycle weapons button and change it from a reg press to a start press. And what this does is it allows you to start swapping weapons as soon as you start to press, compared to the default setup, which is on release to press. Okay, so the next thing is my tap strafe settings, but I'm also going to show you how to set it up. So you're going to click joystick and click create a mode shift, and then you're going to change this mode shift into a directional pad. Oh, and it actually just preloaded all my settings. But what you do is you bind W to forward, S to backwards, A to left, and D to right. And then you're going to change each one to a long press, and make sure you have turbo on and your long press time all the way down, and your repeat rate all the way down. Okay, for W key only, you need to go to settings and hit cycle commands. which will bring up a subcommand, and then you need to bind scroll wheel up to that. Okay, so the one thing about the long press on W key is you need to be using 165 FPS in game, and you can't get FPS drops or your forward tap strafe will cut out. So if you're not using 165 FPS, you can still give it a go and see if it works, but if you notice your forward tap strafe is cutting out, you're gonna have to change long press back to a regular press and just delete this subcommand. Okay, next you're gonna wanna go to your directional pad settings, and then now you're gonna choose your mode shift button. So most people will tell you to use joystick click for your mode shift button, but clicking down on your joystick to tap strafe is really awkward. So then they'll go ahead and tell you to bind joystick click to one of your paddles, but then you're technically losing out on joystick click as a free button to use. So what you should do instead is use one of the face buttons that you have to take your thumbs off the sticks for, like A, B, X, or Y. Don't use the D-pad because it'll mess up your wall running, but that way you can lose out on one of those buttons and not your left stick click, which is important because you don't need to take your thumb off the stick to hit it. Okay, so whatever button you chose to mode shift, you're gonna need to go to that button and remove the command. So that way when you're tap strafing, this command isn't also being inputted. And then for the directional pad layout, a lot of people have been using analog emulation, which I was on it for a bit, and honestly I find it's kind of buggy and inconsistent, so I went back to 8-way overlap, and I find 8-way overlap to be a lot more consistent, so I think I'm just going to stick to that for now. So the last thing to make your tap strafe actually work is you need to bind scroll wheel up to move forward on your mouse and keyboard apex settings. Alright everybody, that's my Steam setup. I've probably spent 100 mind-numbing hours in the Steam configurator to figure all this out, so if you could drop a like and subscribe, that'd be awesome. And yeah, hope you enjoy, have a good one, and peace.